80% frames and receivers. A new ruling went into effect today, and from the dealer and manufacturer side, there's a lot of confusion about the regulations, if we have to serialize them, when we have to serialize them. Is it gunsmithing, or is it just the kits, is it the lowers, is it just the frames? And this video is not about that. This video is for the average consumer, the individual, not the dealer, that has an 80% frame or lower at their house. You're perfectly fine having that frame or receiver at your house. The rule regarding an individual being able to make a firearm did not change. The only thing that changed is on the dealer side, and then gunsmithing of those firearms. So if you have an AR-15 and you milled out your lower receiver yourself, perfectly legal. You do not need a serial number on it. You do not need any markings on it. But that is yours and yours alone. And then also, if you take it in for any kind of gunsmithing where the dealer has to take possession of it, so that means overnight or you leave the premises, then that dealer has to log it into their books and has to serialize it. Now, that does not get sent anywhere. That serial number will only come into play if your firearm is recovered by the authorities and needs to be traced so it can get back to you. Now, how does that happen? So historically, people could pick whatever serial number they wanted to go on a firearm. That is no longer the case with personally made firearms. If you have a firearm that you make and you choose to serialize it, then the dealer that serializes it has to use part of their federal firearms license number in that serial number. And that's how they trace it back. So all that does is, say you have a Glock that you made out of a polymer 80 kit, and it gets stolen. Somebody breaks into your house, somebody breaks into your car, wherever it may be, that firearm gets stolen. Well, you may never see it again. Nobody may ever find it. Who knows? But if it does get recovered, say in a traffic stop, the idiot that stole it gets pulled over, they got a gun in the car, and it's recovered. Well, historically, they don't have any way to know where that gun came from. They don't have any way to get it back to the original owner because there's no serial number on it. Well, now, with it going to the FFL, they can call that FFL and be like, hey, we have a privately made firearm here. Who did you all take it in from and give it back to so we can try and find out what's going on with this gun? If you're a law-abiding citizen, yeah, you don't want your information out there. You don't want them to know. But again, they're not being told something's made. It's just if it gets recovered. So if you're not breaking any laws, if you're not going to be making guns and selling them illegally, by the way, if you're not going to be doing something where that gun's going to end up in nefarious hands, it's really no big deal to get a serial number put on it. Again, there's no record of you having that gun. It's kind of like people that don't want to do paperwork to buy a pistol or a rifle from a dealer. If you have a carry permit, the government doesn't know you bought anything unless they have a reason to come look at my store and look at my paperwork. So it's not as much of an infringement as a lot of people are making it out to be. It's just a way to, on the back end, recover those. Now, keep in mind that a lot of this comes from idiots, mass producing guns and selling them without a license. There was one guy on the East Coast a while ago that, I want to say he pumped out several hundred guns. I don't remember if it was pistols or ARs, but he bought the kits and was milling them out and was selling them. And the serialization requirement at the manufacturer level going forward on the kits will help mitigate that. It'll keep those privately made firearms from easily being made by individuals that cannot and should not have guns. So it just kind of depends on if you think that criminals should have easy access to guns or not, whether or not you support this reg. I personally don't really see a whole lot of negatives on that portion of this regulation. There's a lot of other stuff on our end that got changed, and if we ever figure it all out, because it's clear as mud right now, I'll do a follow-up video on that. So thank you for watching, and hopefully that clears up a bit about what needs to be done with those privately made firearms. Please like and subscribe and share. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. Thank you.